Grand afternoon. True Brit news, MAGA and all that. Make our bone great again. Why someone needs me to be dumb, wrong, and stupid. Okay. So much. USAID, USAID, or USAID, or USAID. Any one of them will do nicely. And the implications that it has, what it is actually, and the implications that it has for true Brits here, of which we are beginning to see the impacts of. There's been some weird stuff happening. Okay, right, let me just deal with that. So USAID is basically a function of the US Incorporated users to give to, or for other, to give to as an example, non-governmental organizations, which can be in the private sector. They can be in all sorts of, I've given an example of the BBC being in the UK. So it's both domestic and foreign that this US aid exists. It's a function of government to promote or to influence other peoples around the globe, as well as within the country, towards the agenda of the US Inc. Right? And the US Inc., I mean, I could go into that all that, but the US Inc. basically, well, the administrators, I'll go here, the administrators of the US aid, USAID, is, I think it's Congress. It's the government, essentially, but it's a layer of government. The people that are in Congress, they have allegiances and alliances with other governments, with corporations, with companies, with, I think that'll do. Countries, corporations, companies, the legal system, all sorts of things really. Universities, as it turns out, because they're able to, and media networks and outlets, so that they give money to those agents and agencies wherever they may be in the world. So they've been promoting, as an example, LGBTQ. They gave it to, I think it was in Afghanistan or something like that. But using LGBTQ and using Sesame Street, right? So they're promoting LGBTQ using Sesame Street characters, but from a Afghani perspective. So the people that are running the program are from that region, but they're using puppets that are in the style of Sesame Street. They've got their own Afghani Sesame Street, but they're using it to promote an LGBT agenda. And that's just one example. It's been used to promote and propagandise, I suppose, the pandemic of 2020 and the subsequent medical regimes that were proposed to the public across the globe about a medical measure that will stop the pandemic. So there was lots of money gone into feeding and that agenda and its significance and its importance and why we need to do that. But that's in the face of knowing it was a full-on lie. It wasn't what they said it was, and that's coming out as well. But a lot of money's gone into trying to convince the whole globe that and it's through USAID. Very quickly then, so USAID, the UK's got a version. So it's not just US, it's UK, it's UK and US aid. So it's UK, right? So they've been involved in the same thing, and I think it seems. I mean, I listening to something this morning about MI5, and I heard something a few months back actually about the Secret Service. It was on GB News. That one was how the Secret Service has been operating a license to kill when it shouldn't have a license to kill, and it's gone. It's the was it special forces or whatever it is over in the UK that go out and do missions on behalf again of the government, or on behalf of the country, actually on behalf of the country of which Charles and his tribe are fraudulently in control of. Well, they're in control of it legitimately, actually, but but the whole thing's a fraud. So based upon whatever it is that they feel, they've got their parliamentary I don't know what you call them. You've got Parliament as a mechanism for to manage the assets, if you like, of the world, or that it has control over, to be able to manage those in a way that it sees fit. So one of the ways that it sees fit is to raise revenue, as it turns out, through taxes, and then instead of those taxes being used, which is what they're supposed to do, to enable the citizens or the sovereigns or the people that are born here that pay those taxes to benefit from those taxes and have their needs met based upon what we say, what sovereigns say, what the indigenous and aboriginal say, what the naturally born people and native born people here that have been here for 2 or 3, 4 generations and more, what it is that what we want, what the true Brit wants. They've not been doing that at all. They've been doing whatever it is that the WF wants them to do, and actually which demonstrates that they've not been working for us, but they've been taking our money to send to Ukraine, send to Israel, sent to fund the wars in Sudan, kickstart the first, the second, all of them, all of these wars, and all the conflicts, and make no mistake, I think the pandemic thing was a declaration of war. Boris said it, actually. We are at war. That's what he said in days of, and that's all he said. He didn't say we're at war with a disease or anything like that. He said we are at war, and it's quite clear who the we is and who the we are at war with. It's abundantly clear. So now, what that means, it means a lot of things. I think there's something cracked off with the police at the minute in terms of MI5 and what it is that they've been doing, hiding information, not disclosing information, covering up information, not acting on behalf of the people that have become victims to crime. And sometimes some of those crimes have been committed by the state. So when the state has been involved in it, the police seem to be complicit in covering it over, not doing right by the people that pay their wages, essentially. So a lot of this stuff's coming out at the minute, and I'm a lot of people are talking about popcorn, eating popcorn, or just watch the show unfurl. I don't think they know. I think some people can do that, but actually this is a time for some people to do some serious atoning, because what's going to come out is it turns out that one of these police people, undercover police officers, is undercover for MI5, but he's working in the police force. So it makes me wonder about, and today actually the JFK, MLK files are coming out, along with other files that have been held for far too long. They found 2,000 and odd pages of whatever. around just the Kennedy death, assassination rather. So a lot of people are going to become implicated in things that they knew that they one day they may, if this what is happening now, or if Donald ever got in, that they might be exposed to, that they might be revealed to everybody, you know. And I'm saying everybody, and I'm not just talking about celebrities and royalty and people in the public eye. I'm not just talking about just politicians. I'm not just talking about them. I'm talking about CEOs of companies, people that we've had a high regard for, even probably within our local communities. You know, I think it comes, for me, it's so some of the institutions that we have held highly, had a high regard for, BBC, red brick universities. I think they're going to have a lot to answer for, a hell of a lot to answer for. And it's made me wonder about, you know, how many of the people that are in these positions are actually working for even the people that it is that are paying their wages. You know, all the people in local authorities. You know, I wonder how many of them are actually not working for the best interest of the people that the local authority, of any local authority for that matter, if they are basically infiltrators into the community and are giving up, you know, they're just finding out information about people, and at the same time divesting the resources of the people of that community that the local authority is meant to represent, and robbing them blind, basically, you know, and doing that on behalf of another government agency, if that makes sense. Wheels within wheels. So, you know, I get a sense that everybody's working for MI5, it seems to me. Anybody could be doing it. If they're in the police force, they're going to be in education, they're going to be, you know, and it makes me wonder about some of the people that I have known and the positions that they have had, as I've known them, you know, directors of what? Directors of institutes, directors of companies, directors of charities. You know, the ways in which, you know, people used to get headhunted. That was a big thing in the late 90s, early 2000s. Everybody was getting, you know, it was a big thing if you got headhunted. You know, and people were coming in from outside your local authority. I noticed that particularly in Nottingham and Nottinghamshire. People were coming from all over the shop to come and work in the city council, the planning department as an example. And when you come to Nottingham, and I know some people that have worked in the planning department, and I remember some of them talking about this nudge theory that they were implementing. It sort of began with bins and stuff, and I mentioned it on previous videos. But now you can see, you know, were these people that were being headhunted, did they know what it is that they were doing, that they were working towards these 15-minute cities, and they haven't told anybody anything. And here we are now, after enduring 5 years of hell on earth, you know, and the first 2.5, 3 of those, you know, were messing about with lockdowns and vaccinations and all the rest of it. And bosh, bish, bash, bosh. You know, we've got Donald over there talking about how corrupt the governments are and the agencies that have been created by governments. You know, they've created all these little slush funds like USAID, you know, like the banking system. It's a con, it's theft, it's a fraud. We're not supposed to have them here. You know, and how they've used their laws, their admiralty laws and maritime laws and legislation to create legislation and laws to steal from us, to do some of the things that they've done, like a pandemic, which didn't exist, like, I don't know, 9/11, like JFK, MLK assassinations. What are these people like? They're Zionists, you see, not to be trusted. So, you know, I'm not saying everybody's a Zionist, but I'm saying that if you're working for, a lot of people have been working for Zionists and pushing the Zionist agenda, which is basically a genocidal one. And I believe that that's why there's no joy and happiness. Here we go. No joy and happiness for what's going on in Israel. Everybody wants that to go south as quickly as possible. You know, we like war. I don't personally, but I'm saying that the WASP does, right? The WASPs love war. They get off on it. Plus, like, they need those wars because whilst we're busy fighting each other, you know, of any kind, really. I'm not just talking about kinetic wars. I'm talking about, you know, war on the mind, war on the heart, war on relationships, war on gender. Whilst we're busy fighting all this stuff, like, they're able to keep the cover up of what it is that they have done and what they're currently doing under wraps because we're too busy trying to find a job and all the rest of it, you know, or keep the job that we've got, you know, pay the bills. Till the next time, may your ERP and your spirituality remain strong. And I'm gone.